educated. My mom went to 11th grade. My dad went to the 3rd grade. But let me share with you what they taught me. My dad was a truck driver, and he convinced the white folks he worked for to let him have that truck 24/7, keep it all the time. He would go and tear down old houses and sell all the copper, metals, woods, aluminum. He would go buy, back in the South back then, people would abandon their cars in the front yard. He would go buy cars for $25, make $4,000 or $5,000 selling all the parts. My dad made $30 a week. My mother went to high school at Coretta King.
Wow.
My mother was a colored maid who made $3 a day, $15 a week. So my dad made $30 a week. My mom made $15 a week. My mom convinced the white woman she worked for to give her all her hand-me-downs. And on the weekend, my mother and her 2 best friends would make these beautiful quilts that they would sell for $200, $300. The lesson inside of that, my parents taught me entrepreneurship. They knew they had assets, a truck and some hand-me-down clothes. They knew those are the assets that they had, and they took those assets and turned them into income. And I learned that from my parents. So just a little bit more, I desegregated every aspect of school in Alabama. I was one of the first Blacks in elementary, junior high, high school. We had George Wallace as our governor. I integrated University of Tennessee. So I had a different experience growing up. Been beaten, spit on, electric prodded by state troopers, so that we and many, many other people could have this opportunity. And our young people need to hear and know more about that and what with the prices we paid. I did 10 years of therapy for racial trauma. It really impacted my life as I got older. I had this always wanting to do more. And it came from those years of being the first Black and being challenged that you weren't equal and beginning to feel like you weren't equal. Went on then to college, transferred my junior year, went to Fisk University, HBCU I'm proud of, and then went to corporate America for 20 years at Xerox, but only a year in the copier, then went to the medical division and was the #1 sales rep in the world for 3 out of 4 years. Then was the first Black, went to Philips to sell MRI and CT scanners in America. And one of the first Blacks to be a neurosurgical specialist with Johnson & Johnson. So I have a very unique kind of background in sales and marketing that most people haven't experienced, how to sell a product, install a product, change the whole hospital around because of this huge magnet you're putting in the hospital. Then, managed care came, and I couldn't do the medical thing anymore because it was more about cost. And during this period, even back in 1983, my former wife and friend Tina, we started our first business, Headliner's Hair Salon, that we had for 17 years in Houston. Made our first $1 million in 1987. Made $1 million with a hair salon. We had at one point 25 employees. Then went into the music industry, sold my company, the management side of it, in 2002 for $10 million and $30 million in stock. Bought it back in 2007. Then we started House of Darion and the Miss Tina line. We sold that for $75 million. I was the chief marketing officer. I then sold the catalog part of Music World 2.5 years ago for a significant amount. So I bought and started up and sold companies. My only reason to be in business is to start it up and sell it. So that's to give you some of the background. I won't even go into the music. I think most of you know what I've done in the music.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Your journey's been pretty rough. But before I get into that next question, is your life pushed your journey, pushed you towards where you are now? Is that what I'm hearing? The hardship?
Well, there were a lot of hardships. There was
Yeah.
at one point a chaotic part of me that I shared. I share this. You know, what you see is what you get.
Wow.
I'm very authentic when I speak, and I had to get a grip on that. That was the therapy that I had to go through
Yes.
for 10 years. Lost my family, and had to regain them. Fortunately, I have. But it hadn't always been pretty. But I've never given up. That first job at Xerox Medical Systems, the product I sold was mammography equipment. And a lot of you ladies may or may not know that I'm one of the 1% of men that came down with male breast cancer. I call it chest cancer. Had it not been for me selling that equipment and knowing immediately, even my doctor, when I called him, he was like, 40 years, I never sent a man to get a mammogram. He thought it was kind of funny. I didn't. And it saved my life. And I'm very grateful. My 4th year of recovery, I have 1 more year on medication. But that saved my life. And I really believe in early detection. And I won't get on that soap opera right now. That soapbox on early detection, but it's really key because I found my cancer at stage 1A. Very simple. Stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Higher the number, the worse the outcome. It's real simple.
Thank you for that, Dr. Knowles, and bringing the vulnerability as well. What I heard you talk about entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Well, first of all, in my vulnerability lies my safety.
That's right.
And so I've learned to be vulnerable and to share, because somebody else might be going through the same journey right now, and maybe it can be helpful. So your question is, what is entrepreneurship?
Yes.
So I'm going to do it a different way. Ashley, I'm going to ask you to put a slide. And I don't have many slides. Can you make that bigger? Yeah, thank you. You make it a little bit, that's good. I can read it. Can you make it bigger again? There you go. I can read that. So to me, entrepreneurship is real simple. It's the who, the what, the why, the where.
Mm-hmm.
The who, the what, the why, the where. Who is my customer? What is my product? Why should they buy it? And where can they get it? The who, the what, the why, the where. And in this whole process of being entrepreneur, and we won't have time to go through this, maybe we'll have another session, but it's pretty detailed. It starts with the creative process. That whole process of identifying who is your core customer. So if I'm going to write a book and I have a picture book, it's important before I even start the process that I begin to identify who is going to be the end user of this product or the end user of this service. And I'll share with you. A lot of ladies, you can identify with this. So in our hair salon, when we opened the doors, we had identified. We only wanted Black women, professional Black women, who were making anywhere from $75,000 and more. So there was a lot of attorneys, judges, doctors, professional women. We realized the #1 challenge of a professional woman and any woman in a hair salon is one thing: time.
Yeah.
Time. I've owned a hair salon 17 years. I know what I'm talking about. I know when ladies fold their arms and fold their legs, they are ready to go. So we figured out a way to ensure we started on time and we got you out on time. And it was a whole creative process that we came up with. And we used a lot of assistance, a lot of training, but we started on time. We didn't have any kids allowed in the salon unless they were getting services. We served champagne. Back then, we had fax machine. We had 2 phone lines because we had professional women. So we identified who our customer. You have to know, and we call everybody won't fall into that group, but we call it our core. Majority of the people, that's who they were. Then we came up, as we came up with, first of all, and we did some research. Being an entrepreneur means a lot of reading, a lot of learning, a lot of research. And so we then came, and I'll move fast forward to House of Daria. How you name your company is really important. Again, knowing who your core customer is. So that one slide on House of Daria, Ashton. So we came up with House of Daria, and I think most of you might remember House of Daria or Daria and Miss Tina. Not that slide, that one. So if you look at that, can you make it a little larger, Ashton? So if you look at that, you see that photo on the table. That's Agnes Darian. Agnes Darian was in Galveston, Texas. She was in fashion. She used to, for the church, make the school outfits. That's how her kids got to go to private school. She was a seamstress, well known in Galveston. She shared her skills with Tina and then Beyonce. So the tagline is couture, kick, soul. Tina was the couture. She was the designer. Beyonce is the kick of the brand, and Agnes is the soul of the brand. And in marketing, as we'll get more into this, in this creative process, it seems like, oh, I just came up with a name. It's way more than that. It's way more than just coming up with a name. You got to understand tagline, who the customer is. If we can go back to that slide, Ashton. And then we talked about tagline, getting a domain name. Let me tell you a mistake that a lot of people make. When you're an entrepreneur, you're also a visionary, because a lot of people won't understand when you say, I'm gonna do a picture book, or I'm gonna open a spa. A lot of people won't understand